My pregnant sister wants me to get back with my toxic ex, just so she can get hospital discounts where he works. And honestly, she turned out to be even crazier than I thought. Let me explain. I'm 26, single, working full-time, and just trying to live a peaceful life. About a year ago, I went through a really rough breakup. It wasn't just painful, it was the kind that takes time to crawl out of. And I've been doing everything I can to move on, to truly close that chapter. But then, out of nowhere, my older sister Maya, she's 29 and currently 7 months pregnant, decided it would be a great idea to play matchmaker. Not with someone new, not with someone decent. She tried to get me back together with Adam, my toxic ex-boyfriend. Why? Because she ran into him at the hospital. That's where he works. He's 30 now. We dated for just over 2 years. He's a doctor. Charming, polished, looks great on paper. To most people, he seems like a role model, kind, helpful, respected. But behind closed doors? He was a nightmare. Controlling. Emotionally manipulative. Everything was always about him. If I cried, I was being dramatic. If I disagreed, he guilt-tripped me or gave me the silent treatment, for days. He wouldn't let me wear what I liked. Even a turtleneck in summer was too revealing, according to him. I wasn't allowed to be me. There's more. So much more. But that's enough to give you the picture. It took me forever to leave him. And even longer to heal. I finally broke it off last year, when I realized that being alone was 1,000 times better than feeling worthless every single day. I blocked him everywhere. Deleted his number. Told our mutual friends not to even mention his name. I was done. And everything was going fine. Until a few weeks ago. Maya went to the hospital for a routine checkup. She saw Adam. She didn't even know he worked there. She said he was super polite, very kind, offered to help her with anything she needed, and even gave her his personal number, just in case of emergencies. And then she started bringing him up in casual conversation. All the time. She knows what I went through. She knows I don't want to hear about him. But she kept making these little comments. He seemed different. He was very respectful. He looked happy to see me. Then it got weird. She started saying things like, "I think he still cares about you. Maybe people really do change, you know?" I told her, clearly, I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want her talking to him either. But Maya wasn't listening. A few days later, she told me that she'd asked Adam about some pregnancy symptoms. He gave her advice. Then he offered to help her book appointments, said he'd make sure she got the best care possible. And then came the part that left me speechless. She looked me in the eye and said, "If you got back together with Adam, I could save a lot of money on medical bills. He could pull some strings at the hospital." She wasn't joking. She said it like it was the smartest plan ever. Like I'd be crazy not to consider it. I told her, he's toxic. He's manipulative. Nothing he says or does now changes that. But to her, I was just being dramatic. She said, "He doesn't seem like such a bad guy. Maybe you should give him another chance. People change." And then she hit me with, "You need to think about it practically, not emotionally. Here's the thing. Maya and I are very different people. She's always been more pragmatic. And honestly, a little selfish. I love her, but she tends to think about what benefits her first. She's also struggling right now. The baby's father bailed the moment she told him she was pregnant. She lives with our parents, works part-time, and has no idea how she's going to manage everything. Still, none of that justifies this. She doesn't just know about the things I went through with Adam. She saw them. She saw the way he talked to me. She saw him insult me right in front of her. She saw how broken I was. That alone should have been enough to make her want nothing to do with him ever again. But instead, she's pushing me right back into his arms. so she can get better treatment at the hospital. But instead of staying away from him, she started looking at him favorably. She even began sending me screenshots of her conversations with Adam. Messages where he talked about how sorry he was for the way things ended between us, and how he wanted to make things right. Maya said she thought he was being sincere, and that I should at least consider seeing him once. I was furious. And honestly, completely disappointed. Maya isn't thinking about me. She's thinking about hospital bills, baby supplies, and shortcuts. And if you think that's bad, it gets worse. One weekend, she showed up at my place and said she needed to talk. She was emotional, blaming the pregnancy hormones, and upset that I wasn't listening to her brilliant idea. She kept saying how hard it is for her to be a single mom. She told me Adam had already helped her get an appointment sooner than she normally would have, and even offered to help cover some lab costs if needed. Then, so casually, she said, "Just imagine how much more he could do if you two were back together." That was it for me. I told her, once again and very clearly, that I'm not interested. That Adam is out of my life for a reason, and that she needed to stop bringing him up. She got defensive, said I was being selfish, and that I had no idea what it's like to be pregnant, scared, and broke. I told her she absolutely had the right to be scared and broke, but she didn't have the right to ask me to ruin my life again for her benefit. And then I reminded her, there was a time I was scared too, when I was still with Adam, and I don't remember her sacrificing anything for me back then. Finally, I told her that if she didn't stop, she might end up without a sister. That shut her up, at least for a while. My parents haven't said anything directly to me, but according to a conversation she had with them, they did scold her for everything. They told her that regardless of whether Adam has changed or not, it's my decision whether or not I want to be with him. That she had no right to pressure me, or to use her pregnancy or her sob story to manipulate me. Maya told me all this, trying to frame it like I was turning everyone against her. But the truth is, I haven't even talked to my parents about it. They know I don't want to talk about Adam, and they respect that. Maya? She doesn't. And yes, I get that she's hormonal. She's pregnant, the baby's father left, she's broke. I understand all of that. There are some things I can't help her with. I can't magically solve her relationship or financial problems. But the last part? I could have helped. If she had just asked me, instead of trying to manipulate me. And I told her exactly that. But she keeps insisting that she wants to be independent and not rely on us. Although honestly, I don't think it's very independent to get things for free, while basically pimping out her sister to a doctor, just to get favors. And to make things even worse, a few days ago she came over to invite me to her baby shower, which she's planning to host at our parents' house. The problem? She still hasn't let go of the whole Adam idea. She told me she plans to invite him to the party, and hopes it'll be a chance for the two of us. I told her she was insane and that I wouldn't be attending. I even thanked her for the heads up, because now I didn't have to waste money on a gift. She got mad. Apparently, she was counting on me getting her something. In fact, she had specifically asked for something she needed for when the baby arrives, and I had agreed to buy it. But now, I just don't see the point. And yes, that pissed her off. But I don't care. I've run out of patience with Maya, and that's 100% her fault. She had plenty of chances to let the whole thing go and focus on her baby. That day, I could have thrown her out of my house. Violently, even. But I didn't. I showed mercy because she's pregnant. Later that evening, I called my parents and asked if they were seriously letting her host the baby shower at their house, and if they knew about Adam. They didn't. They had no idea about any of this. And when I told them what Maya was planning, they said she wouldn't be allowed to hold any kind of baby shower there, whether Adam's invited or not. I have no idea what Maya's planning now. I don't even know if there was ever a real party. Maybe this was all just some elaborate excuse for a matchmaking ambush. But one thing's for sure. I'm done. I'm done with Maya. I don't care about her drama anymore. She wanted independence? Great. She can have it. Let her figure out how to be a single mom on her own. Update 1. A couple of days after she left my place in tears, I started getting weird messages. At first, it was just a couple of random texts from unknown numbers, asking strange, vague questions. I didn't pay much attention. I figured it was just spam, or someone who texted the wrong number. But then, one of those strange messages included a photo. It was a poorly edited image of me and Adam, standing outside the hospital where he works. The outfit I was supposedly wearing wasn't even mine. They had pasted my head onto someone else's body. The lighting didn't match at all. And the caption read, "So happy to see you two back together." It didn't take me long to figure out who did it. I went straight to Maya's social media. And there it was. An Instagram story, just a few seconds long, with that same fake photo. The caption said something like, "It's beautiful when two people find their way back to each other." I don't know what she thought she was doing. Trying to get people to comment how great we looked together, in hopes I'd change my mind and run back to him. I immediately called my best friend, trying not to completely lose it. She told me to take screenshots of everything and save them. So I did. I even printed out some stuff, in case Maya tried to delete the evidence later and play innocent. That same night, I got a message from one of Maya's old high school friends, someone I hadn't spoken to in years. She told me Maya had been telling her, and a few other people, that I had finally gotten over it and given Adam another chance. That we were one big happy family now. She even told them Maya would be moving in with me for a while to help out with the baby after it's born. Thankfully, that friend knew my history with Adam, so she had the sense to reach out and tell me what was going on. I called my parents right after to talk about it. They're not really into social media, so I figured they hadn't seen any of this. When I brought it up, my dad said something like he was going to change the Wi-Fi password if he could figure out how. I told him it wasn't necessary, phones have internet. But honestly, it was kind of sweet that they still wanted to help in any way. Then came the final, desperate move. Maya showed up at my job. 7 months pregnant. Mascara running, full tears. She waited until I was about to leave, and then cornered me outside the building. She begged me to listen to her. Said she was scared and overwhelmed, and just wanted things to go back to how they were. She claimed the fake photos were a mistake, that she just wanted to speed things up, and thought maybe if people said sweet things, I'd realize Adam and I were meant to be. That our love story wasn't over. That we could start again. I didn't even bother explaining myself again. I just told her I was going to block her everywhere. And if she ever pulled a stunt like this again, I'd consider legal action. I won't go from helping her through her pregnancy to suing her. But if it comes to that, I'll do it. Her obsession with dragging me back into that dark chapter of my life has gone beyond forgiveness. It's not just disrespectful. It's dangerous. I don't care if she's a single mom. I'm done with her crap. And if she can't understand, after me telling her 50 times already, then maybe a lawsuit. will get the message across. After that, I went through all my apps and blocked her on everything. I updated my privacy settings. I'm exhausted. I've always believed in second chances. Except for my ex. But in general, I've always given people room to make mistakes. Because just like me, people mess up. But Maya has gone too far. Way too many times. For this to be considered a mistake. This. I can't forgive. And the worst part? It feels like my ex is stealing my sister from me too. Even if it's not entirely his fault. My parents have talked to her. My mom called me today. And said Maya needs to stop harassing me. Or she'll have to do it from somewhere else. I appreciate their support. Especially when it's a fight between sisters. Those are always tricky. But they've shown good judgment. And I'm really grateful for that. Anyway, thanks for reading. I'll probably take a break from all this for now. I've been writing a lot lately. Between posts and replying to comments. But with Maya crossing more and more lines she shouldn't be crossing. If she knows what's good for her. She's left me no other choice. After that last incident. When she showed up at my job and tried to cry her way back into my life. I thought maybe she had finally gotten the message. I was clear with her. I told her I was done. That I would block her. And that any further contact from her would push me to take legal action. But apparently, she didn't take it as a warning. She took it as a challenge. Maybe she wanted to test if I was serious about my threat. Well, now she's going to get her answer. It all started again with small things. Weird, subtle things. First, I got a call from a daycare in my neighborhood. They wanted to confirm some information about an upcoming enrollment. When I asked what they meant, they said I had supposedly inquired about putting my nephew on the waiting list and requested to be listed as his guardian. I had done no such thing. I told them I didn't even have a child, let alone a nephew under my care. The woman on the phone sounded embarrassed and said that someone had filled out the form online. But she couldn't give more details due to privacy policies. I knew it was Maya. Then, a few days later, a package arrived at my apartment. No name. No return address. Just a plain cardboard box, filled with baby clothes. But what pushed me over the edge was a mug that said, "Best aunt in the world." And a picture frame. The frame had a generic stock photo inside. But behind it was a folded, handwritten note from Maya. It read something like, "You'll need this when the baby is born." What really pushed me to my limit, though, happened this morning. I got a call from Human Resources. It was a formal complaint. Someone had contacted the company, accusing me of harassing a vulnerable pregnant woman and threatening her safety and the safety of her unborn baby. They didn't say who had filed the complaint. But they didn't need to. It's not like I have a fan club of pregnant women who hate me. There's only one. And she's completely unhinged. The complaint included completely made-up claims. That I had shown up at Maya's apartment in the middle of the night. That I yelled at her in public. That I even made threats against the baby. None of that happened. For starters, Maya doesn't even have her own apartment. She still lives with our parents. Thankfully, HR is handling this carefully and privately. They've asked me to submit a formal response and provide any documentation I have. I've already started. I gave them the screenshots, the photos of the box she sent, and even the incident with the daycare application. I hate having to go through all this just to prove I'm not the psycho when she is. And she can't blame it on hormones anymore. Hi again. And as I promised, I'm filing a lawsuit. I don't know if this false HR report can be added to the harassment suit, but gathering all the evidence has helped with both. Hopefully, it will either result in financial consequences or even criminal ones. To stop her behavior for good. The only silver lining in all this is that she's finally stopped trying to push Adam back into my life. So at least that's one less thing to worry about. Now, she's just harassing me to forgive her and let her back in my life. But I know that if I ever let her back in, she'd immediately go back to trying to get me with Adam again. That's why I won't forgive her. And I'm doubling down on my efforts to keep her away. At least it's been nice not hearing about him for a while. And yes, part of me still feels bad for the baby. That poor kid isn't even born yet. And already being used as a prop for whatever twisted idea their mother has in her head. If she's willing to go this far just to manipulate me, I can't even imagine what kind of mind games she'll play on that child once he's born. I just feel sorry for him. He got the worst pick in the mom lottery. It's like he won't even get a prize. He's going to pay the price. I haven't spoken to my parents in a few days. I didn't call them with this information. And they haven't called me either. But I plan to reach out soon when I have more time. I just wanted to share this update, because I know some of you told me to stay alert and document everything. You were right. I didn't think it would go this far. But here we are. Thanks for the advice. I'm doing everything I can to protect myself. And I'll keep doing it, no matter what she tries next. Edit. I spoke to my dad after posting this. Turns out, they were also busy kicking Maya out of the house when she confessed what she had done with HR. I didn't even need to tell them anything. They already knew. And they were just trying to give me some peace by not bringing her up right away. Update 3. A few days ago, I got home from work and found someone sitting on the steps outside my apartment building. It was late, I was tired, and I wasn't expecting anyone. And then I saw her, Maya, holding a baby in her arms. It had been a long time since I last saw or heard from her. I had already filed the lawsuit, and it was actually working. This woman had stopped bothering me, at least for a moment. For a second, I thought I was hallucinating. But she was real. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't showered or changed clothes in weeks. Thankfully, the baby seemed okay, wrapped in a blanket and only a little cold from being outside. I didn't say a word. She just stared at me like this was all normal. Like it was normal to show up uninvited, literally holding a baby, after months of obsessive behavior, lies, and harassment. I turned around and walked away from the building. I didn't talk to her. I walked to the end of the block, pulled out my phone, and called the police. I know what you're thinking, poor baby. But honestly, this was the best option I had. That baby needed to be taken by the authorities. I didn't know what she was planning, and I wasn't about to find out without the police present. When the police arrived, I went back to the building. Maya didn't even seem surprised. I guess she knew it was a possibility that I'd call them. She kept repeating that she didn't know where else to go, that I was the only family she had left, and that she just needed help for a few days. She didn't even ask if I wanted to meet the baby, she just assumed she could hand him over to me like it was nothing. Like she had been waiting for this moment. Like we were still sisters. I told the police everything. Everything. While I spoke with one officer, Maya was talking to another about her situation, and someone was taking care of the baby. I didn't hear most of what she said, but at one point, I saw her crying, saying that I was turning my back on blood. Eventually, I think they called Child Protective Services and took her somewhere. I don't know where. I don't want to know. What matters is that she's no longer at my home, she has no access to me, and the baby is safe. Because let me be clear, she was not okay. She was not stable. That baby should not have been alone with her. I saw it in her eyes. I saw it in the way she talked. No one wants their mother to look or act like that. No one should be near a baby in that state. I don't know if she was trying to hand me her baby. I don't know if she wanted me to take care of them or if she was planning something else entirely. But what I do know is that I would not have taken him. I talked to my parents, and they said they'd try to find out where Maya and the baby had been taken. I don't know what's going to happen to her now. I don't know if she'll get help. I don't know where the baby will end up. But at least my parents have been able to confirm that the baby is okay. I don't feel sorry for her. I'm not dropping the lawsuit. In fact, we're including this event as further grounds for the case. I'm filing charges. I'm requesting a restraining order. My parents don't know what will happen to her because she's now facing charges for harassment and endangering a child. Apparently, she had been sleeping on the street for 2 days after being evicted from the apartment she had found. No one knows anything about the baby's father because she refuses to say who he is, and I doubt he'd want to be involved anyway. Everything is still very fresh, so I can't give you all the answers yet. But I won't leave you with half a story. I know there are still loose ends, and I'll probably come back with another update. I just can't promise when that will be. I need everything to settle first so I can give you the full picture. Update 4. Let me start by talking about my sister's baby. He is currently living with my parents, who have decided to take care of him. The court located the baby's father, but he didn't want to take responsibility. My parents chose to step in because they believe leaving him in the system would be awful for their grandson. I know there's been speculation that the baby wasn't really the father's, and that's why he refused to take care of him. But a paternity test confirmed that he is, in fact, the biological father. As a result, and to support my parents, he will now be required to pay child support to them for the baby. Now, as for my sister, that situation is more complicated. She's on the verge of being sent to prison, but not because of what she did that night when she showed up at my house. There were a lot of other things going on behind the scenes that I didn't know about until much later. To explain it properly, I need to go back to the point when I cut off contact with her. It wasn't just because she kept bringing up my ex, even after I warned her I would block her everywhere. There were other things going on behind my back. Maya had reached another kind of agreement with Adam while she was pretending to try and make things right with me. She was sleeping with him in exchange for the same benefits she had hoped to get if I had gotten back together with him. And they kept it up for a while, until Adam realized just how terrible it was to be sleeping with a patient and ended it. But not before he got the full brunt of Maya's obsessive behavior. She reported him to the hospital where he worked and got him fired, even had his medical license revoked. But if you're thinking, well, at least the crazy one was finally targeting someone who deserved it, just wait, there's more. That night, thinking she could get him back or whatever, she went to his house. That's Adam's statement, at least. But it ended with her destroying his property. Adam doesn't know where the baby was during all of this, but there's a theory that Maya left him in a dumpster while she went to visit Adam. That's what finally led to her arrest and why she's now facing prison time. And I think it's absolutely insane. I used to think my sister was just crazy, but now, I'm convinced there's another word for this level of instability. At the very least, all of this chaos ended up making the HR investigation at my job disappear and ensured the baby ended up somewhere safe and loved. Now, my lawsuit is kind of in limbo. The judge ruled in my favor, but there's nothing to collect from Maya, no savings, no car, absolutely nothing of value. But honestly, I'm not concerned about the money. The lawsuit was never about that. It was about getting her to stop. Money was always secondary. If anything, I'd rather the money she earns after getting out of prison goes toward child support for my parents. But if she doesn't, then she'll still owe me, and I'll make sure that money gets to where it belongs. As I write this, I'm still stunned by how many things were happening that I didn't know about. How did she go from trying to push me back into a relationship with my ex, to sleeping with him? And then showing up at my house in such a dangerous state that night? If I had confronted her or let her into my home, I honestly don't know what she might have done. Walking away and calling the police ended up being the best decision I could have made. I know not everyone agreed with it at the time, especially because she was holding a baby, but now there's no doubt that it was the best choice for everyone. Including my sister. She wasn't in a safe state for anyone.